Welcome to the Derek Creason Show. This is episode 31. So what do we got coming up on the show today? We'll have computer nerdery, specifically home labbing stuff for our main dish. And then for our side dish, we'll be talking about music and some concerts I've been to recently, including both Linkin Park and Shinedown. So as always, I welcome your feedback. Derek@derekcreason.com is the email address where you can send your feedback. At Derek Creason on socials, X, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. And then sign up for my newsletter, derekcreason.substack.com. Man, that's the hardest one to say every time without fumbling it. But yeah, go there, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get some cool stuff along the way. Welcome to the show. Today is Saturday, October 4th. So, recent life updates. What have I been up to lately? Keeping busy as ever with kid stuff and school. And then I've also been learning a lot of, AI stuff and tech automation and just some really cool, neat stuff. I'll cover more of that in my tech newsletter, tech email updates, and I'll show you that real quick. So if you go to my newsletter, derekcreason.substack.com, scroll down and click on Tech Updates number 1. You can sit here and I typed up what I was doing last week and what I was learning and all kinds of neat stuff. Or if you go over to YouTube, my YouTube page, at Derek Creason on YouTube, and scroll down, Tech Updates right here, and there's a video version of that article as well where I kind of go over that kind of stuff. So that is some of the stuff I've been up to lately. All right, let's jump into the show. So today I wanted to talk about computer nerdery, home labbing, learning stuff. How do you learn new stuff in computers? Hey, you want to advance your career, you want to grow. You're like, hey, I want to learn about network switches, routers, the Cisco stuff, or hey, I want to learn Linux or Mac or Windows, but I only have this computer system. I only have Windows, or I only have a Mac, or I have Linux or whatever. And what can I do? Well, you can start home labbing, start building some stuff and to try. So you got to go to YouTube and just look up home labbing videos, and then that's a rabbit hole itself, people who have all kinds of money and stuff. And what you got to do is you got to build it up slowly. This is probably my second or third version of my home lab, and this picture right here. And this is it's not very pretty right now, but so what I've got here, as I'll tell you, is this computer is a computer I got off Facebook Marketplace. And I was looking for a computer for like $100-$200 to get, just to have a second computer that I could put stuff on and do stuff with. And I ended up getting this computer for free from a guy. This little computer right here is an old firewall box I had that had 2 network ports and a little hard drive, and it's got a little processor and like 4 or 8 gig of RAM in it. But I can install Linux on it and I can play with it. I use it as a dev web server right now and a VPN gateway. And this is an old 1 gig unmanaged switch, which is nice. These are actually probably cost you $40, $50, $100 if you went and bought one. Actually a little bit more. It's got quite a few ports, but it's coming in handy. You can get little 5-port switches, 1 gig unmanaged switches for about $20, $30, maybe cheaper on like Facebook Marketplace, or if you look around enough, probably in somebody's junk drawer, And then I got boxes full of extra cables and stuff and keyboards to plug into stuff and hard drives. And so for this box here, I went and I bought some hard drives online. I bought 3 10 terabyte hard drives, and I've got TrueNAS scale set up on it, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But it's like, maybe you're like, hey, I don't have an extra computer right now to start with this stuff. What can I do? Well, you can go get VirtualBox. VirtualBox is virtualization software. It will run on Windows, Mac, Linux, and then you can go download operating systems and install them and learn to play with them. You want to learn Kali Linux, you want to learn Ubuntu, you want to learn Mint, whatever. So download and install VirtualBox, then go download the OS from website, wherever it's at, like ubuntu.com or whatnot. And then you're like, oh, how do I do this? Go to YouTube and type in install Ubuntu in VirtualBox or start home lab in VirtualBox. And there will be a ton of videos that you can watch and just follow along with somebody who has a good video and just start learning and playing. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do with that. I used to run my own servers in VirtualBox. I've probably been doing that since like 2008. And I started with Ubuntu 7.04, like 804, really old versions. So I've been doing this a long time, and I actually ran one of my servers locally as a virtual machine for years and years, and port forwarded stuff through my external home internet firewall and ran websites out on the world off of a virtual machine. And you can totally do that. You can also do all kinds of neat stuff. You can rent cloud VPSs and stuff from all kinds of places, from GoDaddy to Rackspace to Amazon to Google Cloud to Azure. Right now I use Linode, and I have a little server that I pay $5 a month for, and I've been hosting my website up there for years, and I run all kinds of neat stuff up on that server. And so there are all kinds of stuff that you can do in your home labs. All right, and so this is the inside of that computer that I showed you the picture of. This is TrueNAS scale, and this is what I'm running. I've got 8 gig of RAM in there, but then I've also got, I go to storage, I've got 18 terabytes. So those 310 terabytes are in one RAID Z1 pool, which basically means I don't have to worry about my data dying or losing my data if one hard drive dies. And you'll also notice I had that up on the shelf. I used to have a home lab at one of my old houses, and I had my backup server and my computer both sitting on the floor, like under my desk. And then when my basement flooded a foot of water, I lost both those machines. And so I learned, hey, physical disaster doesn't happen often, but it can happen and it will happen. So you got to plan for that. So now anything important is at least a foot or higher in my basement, just in case. So anyways, this is a cool operating system. This gives me storage, lets me do stuff. I can build data sets. So I've got some for Plex, File Vault, NextGuard. You can set up SMB share so I can access it from Windows, Linux, and Mac. I can mount them. I'd use it as like a file server. I back up stuff from my desktop, from the family computer. I can back it up onto there. I can do all kinds of stuff. Really cool stuff here is you can go to apps, and you can use Docker, which is a container service, kind of like the VirtualBox virtualization, but not exactly the same, not one-to-one, but to try to keep it simple and not get too technical. You can do all kinds of neat stuff with it. And so I've got the big thing I run on here is Plex, my media server. It can run Portainer, which manages all the Docker containers. I've got Heimdall, which is a cool dashboard for all of my home systems. There it is. So you can build this cool dashboard and just hey, this is what's available in my network. I can launch these different apps, and the more you add, the more you play with. You can just set this up and be like, hey, here's a home page, and you can launch into all kinds of apps and do stuff. So I've got dynamic DNS updater. I've got AdGuard DNS, which I haven't configured yet, but it's on one of my project lists to do. And I've got other project ideas, and a lot of them you can just go do here and go to discover apps and then just start searching. MB is a media server you can run, Open Web UI, Olama. I didn't know you could do that in here. I run this on my other computer. Duplicati's backup service. You can run databases. You can run all kinds of Bitcoin and crypto stuff. Just basically the sky's the limit. And if someone's made a Docker container that can do something, you can probably pull it in and run it inside of your system here. So just all kinds of neat stuff you can do in your own home lab and just build and learn and grow. And I think that's one of the best ways that you can learn and improve your skills if you're doing any type of IT career work. That's going to be the long and short of the home lab tour for now. And yeah, you can see it's got 276 apps available just in this catalog, and I've got 5 installed, and they're all doing just little stuff, but they're all running just fine. And so lots of neat stuff, but I think that's going to do it for our home lab stuff. We will move on, and if you want more technical details, I'm going to talk some of that in my tech news update email and video that I'm going to do later today, more specifically going into the nerdery of some of the projects that I've been working on. And so I urge you to go check that out on my YouTube channel or on my Substack, and that should come out later today as well too. So that's going to do it for computer nerdery and our home lab stuff. Let me know what you think. Are you into computer nerdery? You like building stuff at your home lab, home automation, Linux, Windows, Mac, any of that kind of stuff, making it work cooler, doing neat stuff? Let me know. Hit me up, Derek@DerekGreason.com. Let's go talk about music. Music. All right. The last couple of concerts I've been to, I went and saw Linkin Park. And then I also, a couple weeks before that, I went and saw Shinedown and Bush. And so they were both some good times. And Shinedown, they've both been around since the early 2000s, maybe even late 90s. But good time for millennial nostalgia music. And I was going to play some videos that I recorded from my cell phone. Not the best quality, but you get the idea. This is Shinedown, and this was at the T-Mobile Arena in downtown Kansas City. They had all kinds of cool fire on this one. So they put on a good show. That was a good time. And the dude from Shinedown could still sing pretty good. So I enjoyed that. And then I went and saw Linkin Park. And that was a good time too. This was also the T-Mobile. And it was interesting to see how each band kind of puts on different shows. Linkin Park did a center stage thing. And they kind of faced both directions. They changed about halfway through. And we'd kind of walk around and had these weird cube video things above them. And then here's just a couple clips from some of their songs. You may or may not recognize. I think this is one of the original songs, and then I got some of their 2 new singles that are out. Oh, this is a new one. Lots of cool lasers in this show. They had a lot of lasers and stuff and cool video graphics. And then this was their other new single. The new singer, what's her name? Emily something. She did a great job. Especially when she screamed, she sounded just like Chester did. So I think they did a good job picking somebody to not replace him, but to carry on. So that's pretty good. Some of these recordings are a little bass heavy with the phone, and then there's the last one. This one's a classic. So that was some of the concert video from Linkin Park and Shinedown. So I thought, like I said, Linkin Park actually did a really good job. They put on a pretty good show. It was maybe about a 2-hour set, and then some one-off stuff that you hadn't really heard, but I played a lot of the hits and stuff, and then a lot of their new stuff. And then, fun fact, if you actually go read my 20-something book, I actually talk about in one of my chapters about Chester Bennington and when he died back in 2017, 2018. I think it was 2017 or 2016. Anyways, and how that affected me and how I related to his music and stuff. And so, fun fact, go dig in there and read about that. What good concerts have you been to lately? Have you been to any of these? Do you like Shinedown and Linkin Park? I do. I like Millennial Dad Rock or whatever they call it. That's what I grew up on, so I'm not going to hate on it. I'm going to embrace it. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to thank you guys for listening in and hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed the podcast, let me know. Send me some feedback. Derek@DerekCreason.com is the email address. And on social media, at Derek Creason, X, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble is where you can find me. And then, like I talked about just a minute ago, you can go get my book on Amazon.com, 20-something. It's in paperback or Kindle, or the Kindle Unlimited program. Go check that out as well. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you came across the podcast, whatever platform you're on. Share and like to your heart's content. I appreciate that. And I will check you guys next time.